I do not see that, because I think, and I don't want to like be like, I feel like I'm like an anti Sean Clifford guy at this point, because I've been talking about the quarterback limitations at Penn State, and he is a really good player. But CJ Stroud is someone we had as a 5-star prospect coming out of high school. That's different. Like, that is different. And I don't know whether he's going to live up to that billing, but I think that a 5-star kid, he'll have an additional year of just sort of getting comfortable in Ryan Day's system, additional year of being around his teammates, additional year of just maturing physically and mentally. And I think CJ Stroud, if he were to be thrust into the starting job this year, okay, like maybe there's some growing pains, but I tend to think that if another year down the road, that's just the next 5-star up for Ohio State. And how I can't remember if we've talked about this in the pod yet, but how absurd is it to think Ohio State will have recruited 3 first-round NFL quarterbacks and Joe Burrow, Dwayne Haskins, and Justin Fields, and may get 2 seasons out of them total. 2 seasons out of 3 first-rounders. It's a testament to the recruiting efforts, but it's a stroke of bad luck as well. It kind of sucks to see.
On the next 30 for 30, yeah, dude, like this could be, that could actually be a pretty good documentary about like how the decisions were made, because you can kind of argue that like they, that Haskins played pretty well for them, but Burrow ended up being a much better player. Fields might be.
Well, not only that, but I mean, Haskins should have been playing over JT Barrett.
Yeah.
So Haskins should have been playing over JT Barrett, which should have started his clock a year earlier. Then maybe he'd get, and then maybe Joe Burrow's willing to wait around. Maybe not. But either way, I think the other element to that's interesting is the idea that Joe Burrow, Haskins in a 7-on-7 setting with no contact jersey on is going to look better than Joe Burrow. Like, it's just a cleaner throw. That guy's got he has a pure stroke as pretty as it gets. And then, but Joe Burrow, like where he's best is like facing down the barrel of a gun and just dealing, like manipulating the pocket, being reactive. And I think that the idea that he never really got to sort of showcase that in practice in the same way Dwayne Haskins could showcase his skill sets, maybe could have influenced the way that race was chosen. And that's no fault of Ohio State. It's just the nature of practice. But I think that you're right. Like that whole, how all that played out and how all those decisions made was I think would be fascinating.
So, okay, if they play in spring, I actually do think that this could be a pretty big advantage for Penn State if they don't have Justin Fields, if they don't have
that's fair, yeah.
Wade, Myers, potentially like Chris Olave, that type of deal. Of course, if they play in spring, I'm also going to assume that Penn State does not have Pat Freiermuth. They already don't have Parsons. I think I would probably take Clifford over Stroud in the spring, but I think my breaking point probably comes fall of 2021, where I would again rather have Stroud, simply because if you play in the spring, I think the chance that you have fans in the stands is greater. We know that game is at Penn State, like for the 2020 season, which I guess we now need to call fall or spring 21. Do you trust CJ Stroud to go in there into Happy Valley and beat them? I already thought that game could have been fairly close, except I was going to pick Ohio State because I really trust them to score points when it matters, when they have Justin Fields. But I don't think getting an additional year of Sean Clifford is really that much of a benefit, because I think that's what this question gets at, right? Come fall 2021, if they have another year of Clifford, do you really believe that Sean Clifford is going to be that guy? And I think both of us aren't really seeing that.
Yeah, I think Sean Clifford is like his best bet is like Ian Book. Like he kind of already is Ian Book, but like there's just not a lot of the gains are very incremental, and I think you're pretty close to the ceiling already there.